Nearly 2 weeks ago, the William Thomas Heath Powerline Safety Act was officially made law, born from a local horrific accident right here in East Texas. KETK's Casey Kopiak is here to explain what it took to put this law on the books. It's an exclusive story you'll only see on KETK. Casey.
Neil, many people assume once a bill is signed by the governor, it's untouchable. However, that new law then gets handed over to the state agency in charge of overseeing those changes. It goes through additional public comment periods and can be subjected to even more revisions, industry influence, and sometimes misinterpretation of what the law is intended to do. Tonight, we take you through the final phase of House Bill 4150. Its journey in Austin has ended, but its legacy to save lives is just beginning. The power of tragedy is tonight's special report. It was August 5th, 2017. 3 East Texas Boy Scouts were sailing on Lake of the Pines when the mast of their boat came in contact with a low-hanging power line. All 3 scouts, Will Brannon, Keith Fauché, and Thomas Larry, were electrocuted. 2.5 years later, a Powerline Safety Act bearing the boys' names is now law in Texas.
I'll never forget that initial meeting was right here in my office. I'm the father of 2 boys. It was something that was just, it hurt my heart.
Together, the parents and their local lawmaker began to research Powerline safety laws in Texas. They say they were stunned by what they didn't find. No requirements for electric utilities to report line inspections, injuries, or fatalities caused by their power lines, and no public safety training reports.
The Texas utility law assumed that the utilities were self-policing and self-regulating.
And that's what I think we all assume with something as dangerous as electricity.
We found out that that's not always the case. The bigger ones, maybe. The smaller ones, not so much.
After the tragedy, the parents said they discovered the power line that killed their son was hanging too low. Those lines have since been buried underneath the lake by Upshur Rural Electric Cooperative. Seeing a blatant need for increased safety, Representative Patty authored House Bill 4150, requiring electric utilities to publicly report the steps they take to protect the public.
Really, this was kind of a first of its kind, even at the state level in the country that I'm aware of.
But new legislation means new changes, something that's not always welcome by the industries affected. You pushed forward anyway. Why?
I'm fine with industry. I love industry. I appreciate the contributions they make. At the end of the day, I am in the legislature to serve the people from 6 counties in East Texas who sent me there to be their voice.
Compromises were made from both sides.
I was ready to fight as much as we had to fight to make sure we did something good.
Eventually, even industry leaders testified in support of this bill.
I'm Mike Williams. I'm president of the association that represents electric cooperatives, and we are here for this bill.
When it was put up for a vote, the parents received a standing ovation from the House floor.
These families have been instrumental in the crafting of this legislation, and I can't tell you the level of strength that they've shown.
That day on the floor will be something I remember for the rest of my life. To see them up there, and their response, to see my colleagues' response, it was awesome.
And in a sign of solidarity, a unanimous vote by House lawmakers.
There being 145 ayes and 0 nays, the bill is passed to engrossment.
Safety and caring about whether or not kids are killed by a low-hanging power line is not a partisan issue.
A few weeks later, Governor Abbott signed the William Thomas Heath Powerline Safety Act into law.
House Bill 4150 is now law in the state of Texas.
Annually, it requires electric utilities to report the type of hazard and safety training they provide to their employees. They also have to report public injuries and fatalities involving any of their non-compliance power lines. And every 5 years, they must publicly report the percentage of transmission lines that they inspected in the past 5 years, as well as report the percentage they plan to inspect in the following 5 years.
This legislation is supposed to create a scorecard that the public can grade or judge different utilities against each other to see who's doing a better job at public safety.
Once the law was signed, it was sent to the Public Utility Commission for public comment.
That is a process that you do have to pay attention to. And I know the families paid very close attention to it, as did we.
During that time, some of the same utilities that testified in support of the legislation filed comments and proposed changes to the act. Texas Electric Cooperatives, which represents 14 East Texas cooperatives, including Upshur Rural Electric, commented this about not wanting to report line inspections from the past 5 years. Quote, electric cooperatives conduct regular inspections but may not have had systems in place to accurately quantify this metric prior to the new requirement, recommending the first 5-year report only include what they anticipate to inspect in the next 5 years. Other utilities supported the recommendation. However, the PUC responded, declining to make changes to the rule, and added, the form has space for the utility to explain their report. Texas New Mexico Power Company suggested the due date should be changed to May 1st, 2026. The PUC's response? Staff did not make these revisions. The Texas Public Power Association commented about reporting injuries and fatalities, asking whether the phrase vertical clearance requirements only pertain to power lines over waterways. The PUC's response? Due to the importance of safety and safety reporting, the Commission concludes all types of clearances is appropriate. More than 7 pages of concerns and suggestions summarized in this report. But in the end, the PUC adopted the act with no changes made to the text as proposed, officially written into the Texas Administrative Code. Patty says while no one likes more regulation, these changes hold all electric utilities to the same standard.
If Company A is inspecting significantly higher percentage of their lines than Company B, well, that puts a little pressure on the board and the members of Company B to say, hey, maybe we need to step it up a little bit.
According to the PUC, more than 50,000 miles of transmission lines cross through our state. These new regulations affect all 171 electric utilities in Texas. Patty hopes the unprecedented transparency will improve public safety.
Now, if at some point down the line we don't think that's happening, well, then we have data that supports having a larger discussion.
The parents say they feel accomplished, but will continue to be a watchdog for power line safety.
To get up and have something to do, that it won't bring my son back, but it will keep other people safe. It gives me peace.
Thankful for the support of their lawmaker who listened to their story.
It's like in our personal lives where when we seek to bless others, we're the ones that ends up getting blessed even more, and that's kind of the experience that I equate this to.
An experience through the power of tragedy that will create a life-saving legacy. The first set of reports is due on May 1st. If you'd like to see how your electric provider fared, commissioners at the PUC tell me those reports will be posted on the PUC website. They are currently in the process of creating a specific URL where all of those reports will be available to the public. Also, every document we featured in tonight's report has been posted to our website, easttexasmatters.com. Neil, back to you.